Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, here with a review of the RØDE Broadcaster microphones, made in Australia, by the way, Stephen.
Nice.
I have Stephen here because he is the audio whiz and master behind recording of the FroKnowsPhoto RAWtalk podcast, and these are the microphones that we use, and I thought that we would talk about the specs, why we use them, some of the different things that go on in this microphone that basically explain why we do use them.
Well, the thing I like about them is specifically the built-in pop filter. It's something we don't have to worry about to block our face for the podcast, stuff like that.
Right, because we know that in the old ones we used to use, there was a big pop filter in, and it's great.
Yep.
What is the point of a pop filter?
Pop filter is to basically prevent those plosives from happening. So when you're hitting your B's or your P's, you know, those real plosives that you're letting a lot more air out than your normal words.
And that's where you hear the pops.
And that's affecting, the spike is going up in the waveform, and then that's basically, overmodulating your audio.
We've seen that I've looked at some reviews that people have done, and they have the mic standing straight up so that they talk over it. I kind of thought that would be weird.
You could have it that way too, but the thing with these microphones specifically is that they're end address microphones, so you should be speaking into the microphone more than speaking over it. So that's why we have ours on kind of like an angle.
And speaking of the angle, what are we using here? Did you write down the mic stands?
The mic stands are the studio arms that RØDE offers. I think they're just called the studio
arm.
They're
like $99.
$99, yeah, and they're great. I mean, these are pretty much professionally grade studio arms.
You can watch me move it,
up
here,
up, down, all around. You can move it 360. You can change these and change it how you want it, going, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really nice. I mean, these are essentially what we have at the radio station. They're a little more, they're a different brand, but yeah.
Right, and also you have the ability to do a tally light.
The on-air indicator light?
Yeah.
So, but the thing is they require different XLR cables. You need to have a special kind of XLR cable. So if you have your board set up and they're hooked directly to your soundboard or whatever audio device or interface you're using, the indicator light on there will actually light up green, I believe.
I think it's probably red.
Well, red is that if it's just hooked up to an actual device.
Really?
Like, for example, when we're doing it, it's usually red. But when it's green, I think, is that's when it'll actually indicate saying that you're live on the air or it's actually recording audio and hooked into a phantom power device.
What I like, and this is non-technical, but how heavy they feel.
Yeah.
Just that it feels substantial in your hand.
Yes.
That's pretty darn important.
It's a worthy product, it feels like,
It's worth the money that you're putting out there.
Stainless steel.
Stainless steel, yeah. Like my appliances.
Yeah.
What else you have in there?
Let's see. We have it's 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz as far as the dynamic range goes and the sensitivity to it. So you can get those real deep low ends to those real high ends, which really to the human ear, you won't hear half of that, but it's still good to know that it has that type of sensitivity. Now, just speaking of the low end voices or the low end filter or frequencies that you would hear, it also does have a low cut feature, which we actually use when we're doing the podcast. We do. I have that enabled. It's a high filter pass. So what that'll do is it'll cut out that low-end air conditioning rumble that you'll hear.
Or construction outside.
Construction, traffic, any type of low-end that's not needed for the podcast. Now, if you're recording, let's say, an acoustic performance in a soundproof room or something, that you'll want to keep off and keep it flat. But all you do is you just flick this switch right here from flat to that little curved angle that you see.
Mine's on the curved angle.
Yeah, you want it on the curved angle because that's when that means the high pass filter is actually enabled. So
okay,
that's what we're going to use for that. It'll just basically cut all those low frequency sounds, and there's really no point to keep them on because one, your human ear doesn't really hear half of them,
right?
And two, it's just going to bring up that unwanted noise that we don't want.
And another thing is we sit pretty close to them.
Yes,
we basically touch our lip to it. And what's the reason behind that?
The reason behind it is to basically for the proximity effect. So the proximity effect being the closer you are to the actual head of the microphone, meaning that that'll basically get you more of a warm and bassier sound.
You want me to test it out?
Yeah.
So it'll be like, Jared Polin, why don't I do my full intro the same way?
You can do it.
Loud, and then I'll back away and keep moving and do it the same way.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
That's cool.
Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. And I want to do it directly in.
Yep.
Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. Was that enough?
Yeah, that was perfect. So basically, again, like the farther away you get, the more not as boomier it's going to...
Should I do it from over there?
No, it's just going to sound like basically your on-camera audio kind of thing.
Oh, all right.
But yeah, so you want to be nice and close so you get that radio boomy effect kind of thing going on. Boom. But if you do talk directly into the head, which is also fine, You just might be a little more sensitive to plosives, so you really don't want to do it, but you could.
Like pop filters, pop 2, hut, pop.
Yeah, and again, it does have that built-in filter, built-in pop filter. So,
but it's better that we talk. Like, I like this. I think because
it's just better to be safe than sorry.
Well, when I watched Howard Stern, when you watch video of him, his microphone is over here and he's talking like this, and I was like, well, if he does it, probably makes sense.
Well, it's like your standard as far as the radio industry goes, because what you're doing is you're still talking into that head, but you're not talking directly into it. So your plosives, your air is going past the actual microphone. So it's nicer because you won't be as...
It's going to be cleaner.
It's going to be a lot cleaner, exactly. And what else does it have? Phantom power. These are phantom powered, so you need a board that'll do 48 volt connection. A lot of interfaces these days have that connection. Usually they'll have 2 dedicated XLR slots for that or something like that.
So the board powers the microphone.
The board powers the microphone, correct.
Through the cable.
Through the XLR cable, which these are just your standard 3-pin XLR cables, which you can buy anywhere. They're cheap. That's really kind of it for these. Yeah. It has a cardioid pattern.
Yeah.
Kind of like that half heart shape that you'll see. So it's not an omnidirectional mic where it'll pick up 360. It's only picking up... It's a cardioid end address microphone. So it's picking up the end of the head, all the audio from there. It's not picking up everything on the outside. It's only on this end.
Which is great because if you have we're talking, you're not picking me up with your mic. It's just not going to get me, and you're not getting into my mic.
Exactly.
So, I mean, we've been using these for 2 months or so.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of chances to use it. So we're going to put up some sample audio that Steven will put up there. Probably the FroKnowsPhoto thing. Mm-hmm. You can put that up as sample audio. And you can hear us from like RAWtalk 40 or so on. You'll see it. If you watch the video and you see these microphones and these arms, then you know we're using these Rode microphones to go ahead and record with. They also make less expensive ones.
Yes.
They have one called the Podcaster, which is a USB powered one. I know it's a lot less expensive, but a lot of people use those if you don't want to spend upwards of $400, 420, 30, 40 bucks, depending on where you pick it up. But I really love these Rode microphones, and I'm glad we picked them up to use on RAWtalk.
Yeah, these are great. I love them. And I use a Rode condenser myself at home. That's why I trust the brand. It's worth it.
So anyway, they make a bunch of different microphones, whether you want it for on the camera, but this is a review of the RØDE Broadcaster microphones. They are made in Australia, and I love it. We keep using them for the show, and we just wanted to give you some sample files and let people know what we've been using, because we keep getting asked, what are those microphones that you're using? Well, this is that review. Check it out. Gave you some cool tips. And check out those sample images, Steven. Thanks. Sample images. Sample audio. Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome.
All right. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.